Hi guys, Elle here. Welcome back. Today we're going to continue on with the Four of Wands. There she is. That's as good as it's getting. So I like to call this card the Master of the Manifest, or the Master of the Manifested. By the way, this card is a much easier card, I think, to grasp than the last two cards. I know I loved actually hearing it. A lot of you guys said the same thing, that you had a hard time learning those two cards and understanding the previous two cards. And I was no different. Those were literally the two hardest cards in the entirety of the minor arcana for me to wrap my head around. So we've gotten through not only just a little bit of a rough patch, but also through the worst of it, I think. So all of the fours, really, they all have to do with maybe taking what was created in the three in the previous card, and making it fully manifest, bringing it into the world of, bring it into the world, but also into the human sphere. It's the difference between the Empress card and the Emperor card. To me, that completed, or that perfected work that the Golden Dawn often talks about, right? Completion. It really just means that the work has been manifested, and it now serves humanity. Society is even involved with it now. It's that realm, that sphere of the Emperor of humanity, community, all that stuff is in this card. But either way, what you had created, or what was your labor of love, is now manifest, is now created. And I don't think it's so cut and dry. It's not like, oh, all of a sudden your ships have definitely come in and now you can relax. There may still be a lot of hard work involved here. That's the price you pay for making your dreams come true, you know? Literally. But we'll talk more about that. You know, here you still have that creative force that we've been working with throughout the entirety of the suit so far. But now it's secure in the material world. It's grounded in the material. So one of the things I very much like to think of when I look at like a Marseille Four of Wands is I like to picture, you know, the four compass points, the four elements, the cross of matter, literally. Because that's what the four is. The four is the four elements, the manifest world, and the realm of human society concerns, all that sort of thing. Even seeing a person like that Vitruvian man or something with the two arms and the two legs. That's another thing I like to picture. Or even can even think of it as like a crossroads, you know, where different people meet and society comes together. It's another good one. The cross of matter, even going back to that, where it's like the earth is flowering right out of it and growing. It's where things grow and manifest. Here a bit of advice might be to ground that creative energy and turn it into some sort of a physical transformation. So like I said before, all that work that you have done so far, all that hard, sweaty, taxing, grinding work, it might not be completely over at this point. But what I think starts to happen here is you start to become accustomed to it. You know, if it's not completely easing off, it is easing off in a way because you're getting used to it. Either way you look at it, you are able to finally get a bit of a break. A bit of a respite. It's that respite after you have expelled that effort of will. You're definitely in a stable place here. So why in the world is there an image of a wedding scene taking place on the Rider-Waite-Smith card here? You know, that is not at all what we've been talking about so far, right? By the way, it actually looks like two women getting married there. I mean, I enjoy a lesbian wedding as much as the next gal. But like, seriously, I mean, it could even be two men. It could be a man and a woman. But also, you know, there are other people back here on this card, sort of partying away there. I don't think that it is necessarily an image of a wedding scene. I don't mind that interpretation, though, that it is a wedding. It could be. It certainly could be. It actually makes a lot of sense if it is. It really does. It totally works. And we'll talk about that in a second. But it could certainly also be just some sort of a community celebration. You know, the people coming together after a harvest to celebrate the work that they've done. Something like that, you know? I just think that if you are going to go the wedding route with this card, that you have to make sure that you understand the symbolism of what that means. You have to remember your number and your suit. Remember, you're at the Four of Wands here. This card is not necessarily about the romance, the wooing, you know, of this couple falling in love. You know, it's not quite that. It certainly is more of what the ceremony of a wedding would represent. And the ceremony of the wedding would represent that this is an expression of their love so far, you know, a culmination of their relationship thus far. And it's sort of laying the groundwork from which they will build the rest of their actual marriage. You know, it's that foundation from which they will build the rest of their lives in their society. And it is just a celebration of that. It's a marking of that moment in which that has taken place. And honestly, it's the same thing, whether you're looking at it as a wedding or as some sort of a different community celebration, harvest celebration, something like that. It's this idea that what has been created is going to last and endure a long, long time. And this is true of all the fours. Whatever has been created is going to last. It's going to endure long into the future. But the Four of Wands isn't just a marking of the moment. It isn't just a break. It isn't just a rest. It isn't just a happy ending. It's also this recognition of all the work that it took to get to this moment. Now, I do like to look at the Rider-Waite-Smith card anyway as more of that community type of a celebration, and that's because it ties in really beautifully with the Atella meaning of the card being society. And that's also includes this idea of people coming together, working harmoniously together to create something for the society. I like that saying here, the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. So whether you worked on this project, this idea, this goal, whatever you created, whatever you made manifest, whether you did it as a group or all on your own, now is the time when you are kind of done, and you take a break and you relax and you say, fuck yeah, I did that. Anyway, from here you are stable. Maybe even a little bit carefree, you know, you are secure, you are grounded, maybe even orderly and disciplined and settled. And maybe with this card, it's telling you that you should encourage yourself or encourage the client to allow themselves to feel that way, to enjoy that moment and maybe mark that moment and celebrate that moment. But all those positive things or seemingly positive things can 100% sort of turn on you and become a little bit negative and take us into the reversal of the Four of Wands. And that's when this stability and the security start to become routine. They start to become habit. Artie, what are you doing? You can start to become like stagnant when you feel over-defined or deprived, you know? Jodorowsky and Marianne Costa, in their amazing work, their book about the Marseille Tarot, they talk about this artist who creates the same work or the same style of work over and over for some sort of like a guaranteed income. He's stuck, right? That poor artist is going to want to like commit suicide pretty soon, I would think. He's not utilizing those creative forces, that creative energy, and habit, stuck. All those things are the realm of the Four of Wands reversed. Also for me personally, I know that routine is something I sort of long for and seek out very often. You know, I love the idea of the safety and the security of having a routine. But this always eventually happens by the time I get there, and after a little while maybe of being there, I too want to kill myself. I become stuck. It becomes habit. I feel confined. Like there's no freedom. You know, you begin to be crushed by your routine, and that's not a very healthy place to be. And that is that's the warning with this card always, that risk of becoming stagnant. So with the Four of Wands reversed, there is definitely, like we said, this sense of like dissatisfaction. There could be this instability. The things that you're doing are lacking any sort of enthusiasm because they are just habit, because they are routine, and there's no passion left there. Another element to the Four of Wands reversed is this idea of losing track of the goal, of this lost vision. You know, you've lost sight of your goal or your aim. You're unfocused. Maybe even the goal you had was never even worth it. Artemis, stop! What are you doing? Ay. It may be that you adopted this goal for the wrong reasons to begin with. Maybe they were never the right reasons. Maybe that goal or that idea or that project, whatever it may be, was never actually worth what you thought it was. And maybe these wrong reasons that you had had a lot to do with letting ego into it. In order to create something good and positive, right? And something in alignment with self or with higher self, it needs to be selfless and for the betterment of others. And that brings us again back to the realm of the four, this human sphere, these human needs. With the reversal of this card also, it can describe people who are like obsessed with getting people to like them, who are obsessed with appearances and how they look and how things look. They often sort of have this really low self-esteem and tend to be sort of disliked by other people even for that reason. And in a relationship reading, the Four of Wands reversed often comes up as something real simple, just saying that this couple or the person who's looking for a relationship, you could say, there's just this need to socialize more and become a productive member of society, or just put yourself out there, get out there, interact, you know, that sort of thing. A few more things back to the upright of this card, the Four of Wands upright. All that was reversed, but the upright can definitely mean positive things for any sort of a group project or group activity. You know, if the group is all on the same page, if they all have the same sort of shared positive vision, then it'll all work out just wonderfully and have those long-lasting and far-reaching effects. This card in general can just be a reminder that by providing for others, you can do quite well for yourself. It can also be something as simple as a beacon of hope, you know, that the end is in sight, or if not the end, at least a break is in sight. And it can, of course, represent like the marking of an occasion, you know, a party. It can even just be a simple reminder about how good life can be sometimes. It can be about a person who is more carefree and takes advantage of how good life can be. And in a relationship, the Four of Wands upright, I feel like it signifies a pretty healthy and strong relationship. This is that couple that, you know, they recognize themselves in the other person. You know, they're happy. They have also maybe some sort of a sexual security in their relationship. You know, they just have to be careful that it doesn't become a sexual routine. And lastly, in regards to those virgin parts of ourselves that we were talking about way back in the Ace of Wands, that we've been growing and working on within ourselves up until this point, here in the Four of Wands, this is where you're kind of like really putting it out there. These new parts of yourself, you're really working with them. You're using them to interact with others. Maybe even like getting feedback from others. You're maybe even letting these new parts of yourself guide you in how you interact with others, letting others see them. Does that make sense? Okay, so I just picked out a couple cards this time that I want to show you guys. We talked about the Rider-Waite-Smith Four of Wands, and I already talked a little bit about the Marseille Four of Wands. Here's a really cool one. This is the Four of Lances from the Grail Tarot. And this is supposed to be Sir Balin here, come to the Grail house. And there's a whole long story having to do with this scene. But basically, it's all about a rest after a long journey, or after a long period of striving and struggle. And that just works, doesn't it? Isn't that beautiful? This is from the Agni Roerich Tarot. Can you see that? Like a community of people all gathered around a central tree, all having this shared vision, this community, celebrating, maybe even. There's some beautiful, beautiful artwork in this deck. I know I've had some requests to review this deck, and I definitely will soon. Here's another one of my favorites. This is from the medieval Scapini Tarot. And again, it's that same kind of idea. It's even a little Rider-Waite-Smith reminiscent, right? With the, what's that thing called? Draped between the wands? Whatever it is. But four different people all coming together to do their thing. Oh, the Osho Zen here is absolutely beautiful and so appropriate. The title under the card is Participation. Isn't that good? Very simple depiction. And in this case, the keyword is really quite good. And here again, in the Dame Fortune's Wheel Tarot, you see an image of society, of sociability and celebration. And, all right, let's do this guy. Ma Marielle. Such a beautiful card, isn't it? This one can even be talking about this. It's a burning tree, by the way. That center burning pillar can be making reference to what the wands can also be talking about, that Kundalini energy rising. But she also talks about how it's this creative fire and how it needs to be grounded so you can work with it more. Center it, secure it, build it into something stable from here. Let's just do one more, because in the last video I put up a bunch of images, including one from the Wild Unknown, which this one is from too, that were three wands and how they created that window of opportunity in which to act and all that. And the same sort of a depiction can be created like they did in the Wild Unknown. However, in this case, I look at it very much like how I look at my Marseille deck. It's creating four corners. It's creating four elements, you know, that kind of thing. So I think that about does it for the Four of Wands, guys. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time with the 5. Bye.